This is Don't Panic, episode number 220, recorded October 15th, 2018. Tapping, the new scrolling. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by two guys who are even crisper than a fall morning. It is Colby Rabideau and Dan Miller. Gentlemen, good day.
What up?
Greetings.
And boy, has it gotten crispy weather-wise.
Oh boy, it's gotten.
It happens so fast.
Yeah, it really sneaks up on you out of nowhere. You hit October and boom, it's like right there, you know?
Yeah.
Well, there were days in October this year that I wish I had my air conditioning in. But I think global warming will reverse itself. You just gotta have faith.
That's what I hear. I saw it on Facebook, so it's got to be true.
Right. There's no more fake news on Facebook.
Nope.
Right. They fixed that. It was just a bug.
Just a bug. How's it going, everyone?
Pretty good.
Great.
I saw an Apple Watch last week, a new Apple Watch. I see the Apple Watch I have every day. Yeah. It looks really cool. I don't need it at all, but I kind of want it. The screen is super duper nice. The screen's the reason to get it. Apparently it's slightly thinner. I didn't really notice. The bigger one doesn't seem bigger than the one I have now, which is the old bigger one. Mm-hmm. So that's what I was really worried about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What else was I gonna do there? I guess that was it. I was there. I was checking some stuff out. Thought I needed to buy a new Apple TV remote because I lost mine, but then it appeared. It materialized. I thought for sure I'd thrown it out in the garbage.
That seems like something that could definitely happen.
So now I'm stuck with the old Apple TV remote that you can't tell which way is up.
Did they change that?
Yeah, the new one they put a little white circle around.
Oh, around the menu button.
Or something, one of those. So you're like, the white circle goes to the top or goes on the bottom.
Neat.
Yeah.
Is it a thing you can feel or is it just a color you can see?
It's definitely a thing you can feel. I don't know if it's a color you can.
Okay.
Well, you can see it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can see it in the dark.
If you'll remember, this is why I got an Apple TV remote case to combat this
the
ambiguity.
Bulkiest case on the planet.
It is robust.
I didn't know this.
You were out that week.
It's like the OtterBox of Apple TV remote cases.
There's a little plastic front on it and everything. Nothing's exposed to the air. You could take it.
You take a shower with it.
Yes.
And Dan, it comes in a glow-in-the-dark version, so that way you'll never lose it night or day.
Version.
That's actually kind of appealing. I was stuck using my phone as the remote, and it's cool that you can do that, but that's not ideal.
That's why
the phone
Chromecast never worked.
Yeah, well, at least with Chromecast, it's not asking you to use the phone as if it was a remote. It's a completely different paradigm. But it turns out that scrolling the touch screen on your phone or iPad to move around the TV is even worse than doing it on the TV. And it takes so long for the app to spool up, so you're like, these Netflix shows, they want to start you watching the next thing immediately, and or YouTube, I think it was, you get 5 seconds, and I'm like, crap, swipe up, switch, now this is in my history.
Uh-oh. I have the opportunity to somewhat regularly use a Roku, an Amazon Fire TV, and my Apple TV.
Whew.
And
that's a high roller lifestyle right there.
Yeah. I don't know if it's good or bad. But in any case, I feel like Apple TV does a lot of things way better than other things, particularly seeking through shows. Like you can see the preview. Oh, yeah. However, the one thing that is so annoying and like continuously annoying is it's like impossible to rewind like less than 1 minute. Like if you want to rewind like 30 seconds, there's like you can't do it. It like always snaps back to where you were.
Colby, you know how to. There's a secret way to do this. You know.
God damn it! Do you have to ask Siri? I don't want to ask Siri.
You say, "Hey Siri, what did they say?"
I don't want to do that though.
And then it rewinds 30 seconds. I think maybe it's smart, but I don't think it is.
I wonder if you can ask specifically, like rewind 17 seconds. I wonder if she'll do it.
That's a good question. Speaking of things that Siri can do that I didn't know about, I read on Twitter that if you ask, you can ask Siri to tell you a joke, and she's got a bunch of corny jokes lined up. If you ask the watch to tell you a joke, it's all time-related jokes.
Oh man.
And yes, you can ask the TV jokes, and they're all TV-related jokes.
Who knew?
So then, what if you ask a HomePod for jokes? What kind of jokes does it give
or
you?
Or your Mac. I don't know.
Computer and or music-related jokes? I don't know.
So one of us is going to have to take the HomePod challenge.
Kids, this is one you can try at home.
Something interesting happened to me. I got a invite to that Google streaming game thing where you can play Assassin's Creed. I haven't tried it yet because I just got it. But
are you on some list of streaming game influencers or something? This
not,
is not
I just
game beta you've been in.
He's huge on Twitch.
Yeah, I just added my email to the list. I would imagine most people got it.
I've been watching a lot of baseball just because I don't care in the regular season, but I like playoff baseball. And Samsung's been running. They always run a lot of commercials during baseball, but they've been airing those Fortnite commercials because we talked about this on the show. They're like the exclusive mobile partner, which I think is now over, but they were. And in there, I don't know.
Which is funny because it was on iOS first.
Yeah, no. The exclusive Android. No.
Oh, I see.
They don't want to pay the cut to Google Play Store, but. I don't understand anything that's happening in the commercial. Like they talk about like stuff in the game and like famous players of. I don't get any. I was thinking about this the other day that I've officially crossed into I don't understand what the kids are doing territory. I mean, I've always not really been much into what the kids are doing, even when I was a kid. But it's now to a point where I was listening to the radio for the first time the other day in a long time. I didn't know. It's not even like I'd heard the songs but didn't know. I didn't know any of the music. I don't know anything anymore, guys.
Oh no,
Sean, we can fix this.
This is bad.
Fortnite is free.
We need to do a Game Nights Fortnite edition.
No, please don't make me do that.
Yes,
I'm bad enough at D&D, Dan. Don't make me do this.
I think, Sean, you need to ride this bull by the horns and try to understand the kids for as long as you possibly can, and this is a great way to do it.
That's a good point. You can't do it forever.
Right, and we've been saying we wanted to, switch up some things, have some extra content in between the D&D. I think this is a great idea.
I disagree, but sure, Dan.
We'll have to ask what Matt thinks.
We'll have, yes.
I bet Matt's amazing at Fortnite. I bet he has a lot of hats. Do they have hats in Fortnite? I feel like they must have hats.
Oh, what does that mean? Like you do a different roles? You wear a lot of hats?
No. Do you remember the harbinger of all of this in-app purchase, app economy stuff was the hats in Team Fortress 2. Either of you remember this? I was
only vaguely.
I never, I played Team Fortress 2, but back when it was just Team Fortress 2, and then they made it, they got these hats, and you got hats by doing different things in game, and you could trade hats, and some hats you had to buy. It was crazy. And this was such a big thing amongst gamers, and it died down, and suddenly, in the last couple of years, all of these free-to-play games are doing the exact same thing, but for mobile phone apps, obviously. Anyways, Sean, I understood hats. I've played Fortnite. I think I could be your guide.
Well, Dan, you did such an incredible job of walking me through how Smash Brothers worked. You remember our one lesson we had.
Yes.
And you did such a great job that
You're a breakout Luigi player.
I did serviceable. I did okay. I held my own. And it was funny that friend of the show, friend of all of ours, Brian McMillan, who works in the video game industry, once pitched me. He said, "Sean, we've got to do an internet show, you and I, that's like Clueless Gamer, where Brian comes on and tries to get me to figure out how to play video games." And I said, "Brian, I would be so bad it would go from being funny to just being sad. We can't. I'm sorry, we can't do that." So
that's a kind of people enjoy that though, Sean.
I know, but honestly, it would just be me being like, "This is dumb. This is stupid. I don't want to do this. God, why am I doing?" And then I look at how much money we're making. I'm like, "This is great. I want to keep doing this."
Are you sure Brian's just not looking for free user testing?
That could be it.
How do you feel when this happens, Sean?
I'm angry. I don't want to do it.
Walk me through everything you were thinking as you press this button.
Why did you choose to click on that button?
Because I don't know what's going on. Actually, I did buy the new game his company put out, but I haven't had a chance to try it yet. It looks frustrating. So,
what is it called?
Socketeer. You can get it on Steam now, and I think on Xbox and PlayStation stores. Socketeer. It visually looks very cool, but the gameplay looks very confusing.
It's gonna be frustrating.
Because I watched him play it for a little while and it looked really confusing. But anyway, I don't want to. He's a very nice guy. It's a fine game. But anyway.
All right, we'll talk to Matt about the Fortnite Game Nights Fortnite edition.
You bet.
Fortnites.
Yes, limited edition run Fortnites.
Game Nights Fortnites.
Oh boy, the SEO will be outstanding on that.
We're great at SEO here.
Yeah, that's why
Coffee and Beer Podcast Network.
That's why we're so popular. Anything else going on?
No, I think that
I got a new phone.
Oh. Are you tennising?
Yes, I'm tennising. I almost got the Max, but then I decided not to.
Ooh, what swayed you?
I don't know. I just couldn't, like, if it did one thing differently, like if it had a different camera again, like the big ones used to, I would have been like, okay, I'll do it.
That's the worst reason I've ever heard.
But so it's exactly the same.
Want the big phone at all.
Well, I see the thing. I don't know. Like, I don't feel dissatisfied with the size of my phone screen.
He's got phone screen.
But I've never tried. I've never tried it. I don't want to.
He doesn't think he can handle something that big.
Well, no. I mean, like, you don't know if you don't try. If you never try, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, I guess, is all I'm saying. So I don't know. It's the same. I guess it's faster. I don't know. I got a silver one instead of space gray. I did make the mistake of not turning off, not signing out of iCloud on my old phone. But luckily, I had not sent it back yet. So I only had one like misdirected iMessage conversation that didn't show up on my phone.
I've never signed out of my devices before I.
Weird things happen, man. Weird things happen.
I always... Now, did you remember to disassociate your watch?
So I didn't disassociate my watch, but I did do the Apple like transfer thing, and it just asked me like, "Do you want to use your watch with this new phone?" And I said yes. And so far, it seems to work okay. But otherwise, no, I did not.
What I always tell people is, when you get a new phone, do it via USB with iTunes, and just back up the whole phone to iTunes, and then just restore from your old phone via iTunes. And it's cumbersome, and I don't even think experts recommend you do that, but that, in my experience, is the most foolproof way, because then it just syncs all your apps and all your messages and all your calls, and it just clones your old phone right to your new phone.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So the bad thing that happened, I just remembered this. I have 2 Google accounts signed into my phone, one for work, so I get my calendars, and one for my personal stuff, so I get my calendars basically. And when you get signed out of one of those, like periodically it just pops up the thing like, you need to sign into this account. You need to sign into this account. You need to those kept popping up like at a ridiculous frequency. I was trying to sign in and I was on like the Google login page and they were popping up so frequently and I couldn't close out of them fast enough to get my 2-factor auth code in before it expired. It was really ridiculous.
That's awesome.
But I did get there. It was a very difficult game. But I got there. It was just terrible. It would have been nice if they could like know I was in that like signing into my account flow and maybe just like not show me that in that very instant. But
nope, they can't do that, Colby.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
It's too hard.
Unsolvable problem.
Indeed.
Excellent.
Indeed.
Well, let us know how you're liking the. I always keep wanting to see XS, but it's the 10S. Let us know how you enjoy it.
I will.
If there's any big difference. I got the XR 10R goes on sale at the end of this week, so they'll be in the Apple stores. I got to go check them out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Decide what I'm gonna do.
I forgot about that. The XR.
Yeah, pre-sale is Friday. Pre-sale opens Friday.
Cool.
So, y'all can check that out. Alrighty. Let's see here, guys. We've got some tech news here in the rundown while you're taking a look.
Do we?
Dan, there's some amount of news. Folks out there, thanks for joining us live on Twitch or Facebook. We appreciate it as always. Monday nights about 10:15 Eastern. You can check it out, facebook.com/don'tpanicshow and twitch.tv/don'tpanicshow. If you're watching live, thank you for joining us. Feel free to comment. I will let my co-host know, because I'm trying this fancy new NDI Skype integration. Your videos look crazy crisp, but I have 100% CPU usage. So what that means is I am trying to save on power. If you two can monitor the comments in those places, you'd be my heroes. If you've got any spare CPU.
Yeah. I can confirm, like, opening a Facebook live stream uses 100% of my CPU,
Yeah.
which is very exciting.
Yeah, very, very hoggy in that respect.
It's like, what do you think? I'm not doing something else? I'm not watching my own live stream?
Yeah,
God.
I mean, you got to make sure your hair's looking good and your lighting's right and the makeup's okay. Got to make sure you're covered. Alrighty, well, with that being done, guys, where are we going to start here in this rundown? There's a lot of fun stuff in here. Fun story. We got some Instagram, some Facebook. Palm's coming back.
Ooh, Palm coming back.
This is a funky story, and I'm glad you picked this one, Dan. This is a great one.
You're welcome.
You guys remember Palm? The Palm people?
Like
phones?
the Palm Pilot?
The Palm Pilot, yes. The Trio, they had a whole bunch of devices back in the day, big company. They kind of remember the Palm Pre? Their sort of smartphone attempt, and then they went out of business. Now they're really just kind of TCL owns the naming rights, and a new startup has bought the right to use the name, and they're rolling out a brand new phone. But here's the idea, guys. They're selling a phone that's not supposed to be your phone. They're selling a phone that's supposed to be your second phone. The idea is it's going to cost $349.99 and available in November. And the idea is it is a smaller phone that is meant to be used when you don't want to use your big, expensive phone.
Oh, God.
And to do that, it's a Verizon exclusive, but it actually shares the same phone number as the big phone that you already have. So it shares calls and syncs information between them. It's going to run Android 8.1 and all the apps from the Google Play Store. So it is a full smartphone, but it is small. 3.3-inch, 445 ppi LCD display. Not very big. Rear camera, 12 megapixels. Front is 8, but that's not really there. It's a lower end, 3 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigs of storage. As mentioned, Android 8.1, a single button on the front. It's kind of just like a plain, simple, smartphone. There's really not too much going on interesting.
Wait, explain to me this second phone thing again.
So the idea is, the way they're pitching is you have to be a Verizon customer, and the idea is you already have, like, let's say an iPhone 10X Max, It's $1,000
10
phone, big phone, but you don't want it. You're going out for a jog, or you're going out a night on the town, or somewhere where you don't want to carry a big phone. Maybe you're working out in the yard and you don't want to be worried about breaking it. The idea is this is a second phone that you would carry instead of your big expensive phone in different situations. Now, like I said, they share the same phone number. They will sync text messages across the phones, so it essentially works as your primary phone in that respect. Sort of.
Okay, that's a really stupid idea.
No, but Dan, really, tell us how you honestly feel. Don't hold back.
I don't even want to put a cell phone plan on my watch. Like, I'm either in situation. I don't. Okay, maybe if you're. All right. Here's where I think it's stupid. Where do you want this? It sounds like if you're going to a place where it might be unsafe to have your phone, your real big phone, expensive phone, right? And in that case, a watch is probably cheaper and probably better for that case. I mean, you can't do everything you can do on a phone on it, but in a lot of the situations, outdoor activities, running, you're not going to be doing things on your phone anyways, so I think it's a stupid idea.
Okay, Colby, counterpoint, disagree. Why do you think it's a great idea?
Well,
I'm sorry, I was thinking this was up for debate for a minute. I'm sorry, that's my mistake.
Why?
Oops. Hang on, folks. Skype just imploded on us here.
Too big. I can't take it with me to, I don't know, Burning Man or something. I don't know where you wouldn't like. That's dumb. I don't know.
Okay.
Also, if you're one of those Silicon Valley people and you're getting a second phone to bring to Burning Man, you're gonna make it a bad phone. Nah.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Like, so I'll say this: like having your same phone number on multiple devices. Like, I guess that's kind of cool. I guess. But I don't.
Yeah,
I guess I see the problem. Maybe it just means your phone is too big and you should get a smaller phone. I don't know.
Yeah, how does the multiple phone numbers thing work?
So according to this, let's see, Verizon is doing some tech stuff with it. The phone number syncing isn't that big of a deal apparently. The bigger thing is that you have to use Verizon's message app, and that's what syncs text messages, and then Verizon's number share feature, which I don't know what that is. I'm going to click on this link and try it, see if I can figure out how it works. But it becomes an extension device of your main phone sharing the phone number. So I'm assuming it's kind of like, it's the same technology that works with eligible 4G LTE devices like smartwatches. It's kind of the same technology. So,
so weird.
You know, I think the idea of the second phone is dumb. I'm going to agree with Dan that I think a watch or there are other ways to do it. I would say I think what's more interesting to me is the idea of, and we've talked about it before, the idea of the advantage of a smaller, simpler phone as your only phone, as your primary phone. Like, this is the kind of phone I would get my grandmother if she needed a phone. Not that she needs one, but...
Right, so is it, in your conception of that, is it like what features does it have? It sounds like it's more than what we used to call a feature phone.
Yeah, no, it runs full Android. You can download all the apps from the Play Store. What I like about it is just that it's not expensive, so it's easier to acquire, and the fact that it's more, it's just if someone screwed this up, I wouldn't really, like someone who doesn't know smartphones really kind of borked it with Android, I wouldn't really care.
Right, but what? Would it have apps?
Yeah, it totally has apps.
So it'd be an Android phone?
It's an Android. It's a regular ass Android phone. It's just small and cheap. and not
so
that
it
powerful.
wouldn't be restricted in feature set in any way.
No.
It would
I
just
think this would be
the
a phone
important things are cheap. Now, if depending on how wise this person is, Sean, you might not be able to get it to be that small. You picking up what I'm putting down?
No, you've lost me.
Oh,
Okay.
if their eyesight is bad, they can't have a small phone.
But also, someone of 90 years of age probably just needs to use the phone app. So
that's what I'm getting at.
But that's the problem I kind of have with sort of, and you can get senior citizen smartphones that are very sort of specially designed for that. But then you're also limiting the potential uses of it, right? Because if you do want to load apps on, or you do want to, I mean, I would almost rather, or like, I think this would be a good device for kids too. Not that you should be getting kids smartphones, but if you did, they're kids, they're smaller. To them, this is like a 30-inch phone because they're smaller people. But also, if they, drop it in a lake or do a sick skateboard 360 ollie off a half pipe and drop it, it's not as big of a deal. I just don't know why you would design this phone and then be like, oh, the primary selling point is it's your second phone that's really the same as your first phone. That's weird.
It's kind of weird.
This seems like the kind of phone that solves a problem rich people have. Yeah,
that's what I was getting at there. It's like, oh, your phone's too big. Why not just get a second one?
Yeah, solving a problem no one has.
It's like Merlin Mann with his 3 Apple Watches or whatever.
Well, we'll see if they sell a lot of them. Probably not, but I mean, Palm's been so successful in phones before, so no reason to change that now. Alrighty, guys. How about another story here? We've got stuff. We've got things.
Posts on Instagram.
There's really very little news this week. I have to be honest with people.
Oh yeah, that was the other story I wanted to talk about. Photoshop on the iPad.
Yeah, Photoshop on the iPad. Let's definitely talk about that. Adobe announced a whole bunch of stuff this week. We can talk about different pieces of it, but probably the biggest is that a full desktop class version of Photoshop is coming to iPad on iOS. They say it'll have everything, multi-layer, straight PSD files that can be edited in the desktop version, no problem. A full toolbar, layer management interface. They've been kind of optimized for the iPad size and display, but technically all the features are there. Edits made to PSD files on an iPad will seamlessly sync via Creative Cloud to the desktop version. Since both applications share a code base, no exporting, converting, or adjusting is needed. Yeah, and it is the version 1 that's launching will debut with a smaller set of core features initially, and the rest will be added over time. And they don't have a firm timeline when that'll happen, but they do expect all the features to get there. Yeah.
When is this supposed to come out?
2019.
Oh. Next year. That's cool. I feel like this is an iPad Pro dream. Like this is like the thing. It's happening.
It is happening. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. I don't use Photoshop, and more importantly, I don't know how to use Photoshop. I wish I did. It always felt like one of those things, like how I think a lot of people treat programming, where it's just magic. Like the things people do with Photoshop, I can't even imagine how you would do it, but they do it all the time.
I wonder which is. I would think Photoshop is easier to learn.
I don't know.
I mean, as someone who's learned Photoshop but not coding.
Colby, do you know how to use Photoshop?
Yeah, dude. Technically, before I was a CS major, I was like basically a Photoshop major.
Right.
Colby, we would go out and have a few brewskis, and he'd come back to to the dorm room, and he'd be editing in Illustrator and Photoshop.
That was a classic freshman year experience.
Colby, what are you doing over there? Oh, I'm working in Photoshop.
I got such a good grade on that project.
Yeah,
what was the project?
It was just to make something in Photoshop, like or
it was
Illustrator. Maybe it was Illustrator.
I think it was Illustrator. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a bunch of that freshman year though. in any case.
Yeah. No, this is neat, and that was kind of my comment in the spreadsheet here. Is the iPad a computer yet? Can we call it? We're blurring the lines here, folks.
It's true.
I've
I've said it before. I would consider an iPad Pro if I needed to replace my personal laptop.
One of those big honking ones?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's no bigger than my tiny MacBook.
The big honking one is bigger. It's
Not
bigger.
Really. The screen's the same size.
No, Colby, the big one.
What, the 12-inch, 12.9 inch?
Ones?
No, 12.9 inch is the biggest one, isn't it?
Yeah, the MacBook One is also a 12.9 inch screen, isn't it?
Could be right.
I think Dan's thinking of that big Surface desktop that's 29 inches. That's what he's thinking of.
I don't look that.
And that will run Photoshop, so you can get one of those bad boys.
That's true. That future is already here.
Yeah, I guess it says 12.9 inch. I'm going to Google tiny MacBook.
Tiny.
That brings me right to apple.com/MacBook.
Tiny MacBook, big iPad.
Google knows what I'm talking about. And the size on this is 12 inches. So the screen is slightly bigger.
Slightly, yeah.
I'm not crazy. Oh, thank goodness. Thought I was losing it.
I still think the biggest problem with iPad replace the computer is I still don't understand file management on an iPad. I know there's the Files app now, but the only way this Photoshop nonsense works is because Adobe had to go build their own custom cloud document syncing solution.
Sean, it's just your Files app is just iCloud, right?
No, because you can integrate other stuff with Files, can't you? Because I go into...
Oh, yeah.
Because then there's my Dropbox is in Files, which I don't understand.
Right. So it's not a interface for storing things on your computer. It's an interface for accessing things stored in the cloud.
The cloud.
In the cloud.
That's what's... But let's say I was using... Well, let's say Adobe hadn't built this and I was saving PSD Photoshop files on my device. I just think that it's like an 8-step solution to send that to somebody. I don't know. Maybe I just don't use it enough. But every time I've ever tried to oh, hey, can you email me a file? And I'm on my phone. It's like, no, please don't make me do that. This sucks. It's like, I got to download it from OneDrive and then put it in Dropbox and create a public link because I can't put it in Mail because it's this type of file. And then it's like...
It sounds like your problem is that you're not using something that works with the Files app.
I can't figure out how to use the Files app. That's, I think, my problem. Because I do think a lot of the stuff I use does integrate. I can't figure out how to... it says, save to files, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Nobody has explained this to me.
Where did it go?
I'm a smart guy, okay? I pretty much get how iOS works. I do not get how Dan, after the Fortnite tutorial, you can explain to me how Files works, because I don't... And I'm a Windows user. I should know better than anyone else file management. That's all you do in Windows.
I think I can explain it right now, I think. So... The Files app lets you access files in folders. Actually, it lets you access files in folders. But the top-level folders are not folders that you can create. They're actually storage services. So iCloud is one, and Dropbox is another. And inside of those are all of your files. But they're not on your iPad. But I don't think people... If you ask people to think about what files are on their iPad, they would lose their mind. It would remember when you had to consciously put music on your iPhone, you had to hook it up to your computer. That sucked.
I still do that. I still use iTunes on desktop. But Dan, and I'm with you. And actually that makes more sense to me. The problem is you can store files locally in the Files app in a section called On My Phone.
Oh,
and that's how I get really confused, because if I want to send, if I know there's an Apple word for it, but when I want to send a file between apps and that little share menu comes up and it's like, oh, copy to this or send to that, if that doesn't exist or those two apps don't talk to each other, then it's like, well, then how does it, then I have to like save it to my local files in Files, but then files doesn't work with every app, so you can't send it out of Files.
Yeah, that's the thing I find mysterious too, Sean. Like when you click share on something, like why are some apps not there? I hate it.
Yep.
All apps should be there.
I think
should be required.
But I will say, apps is way better than what they used, or Files is way better than what they used to have. So credit where credit's due. Files is an improvement. Files is in the right direction, but it's not quite there yet. So.
Yeah, I don't know how they could make it better. It's complicated.
Yeah, well, I can't even imagine, because that's what happens when you have all these apps sort of sandboxed by themselves. They don't like to talk to each other very much. So adding that in, I'm sure, isn't easy. But I think it's exciting. I mean, I think it's iPad Pro. It becomes more and more compelling as time goes on. It's got to be any day now. We've got to be getting an invitation for an Apple event in November to do new iPads, right?
I'm worried. It's just not going to happen.
They're going to wait till March, you think? Because that's the next time they would do an event. Or June. I don't think they'd go all the way to June at WWDC.
No, I think it would be
a spring event.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It's making me sad. My iPad is 4 years old.
Wow.
It's almost going to be 5 years old.
For Apple products, that's a long time.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually the only reason I want to get a new one is because the battery life is truly awful, which makes it hard to do one of its other tasks, which is the thing I watch videos on the airplane.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
But it's still fine for my Saturday and Sunday, a 21st century equivalent of reading the newspaper with coffee, which is the other thing I use it for. Looking things up when a TV show gets really confusing. Those are the 3 tasks for my iPad.
Yeah, I think you do need the 12.9-inch Pro for that. Yeah. That seems pretty hardcore.
There's going to be I'm going to be making myself some diagrams when the new True Detective comes out, and I'm going to need the Photoshop for that.
Is True Detective season 2 worth watching?
I don't know. I never watched it.
Okay.
I was told no.
Sounds like a no.
You should watch season 1, Colby. Best make sure to start from the beginning.
Well, I did watch it.
Quite a callback. The real fans will get that one.
Yeah.
We talked about that on the show, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, boy.
Classic.
Yep.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
We've got time for one more story here. Or we can talk about anything you want. Doesn't even have to be tech news related, guys.
Doesn't even have to be tech news related.
No.
The airport facial recognition stuff. I talked to someone about this recently.
Okay, well, talk to us about it now, Dan, because the TSA released its roadmap for using biometric technology in the coming years. Customs and Borders Protection has been using facial recognition to screen non-U.S. residents since 2015, but they are now talking about expanding it. The TSA will adopt the same technology, partnering with Customs and Border Protection on biometrics for international travelers, expanding security operations to TSA pre-check members, and eventually using facial recognition to verify domestic travelers. TSA has been testing fingerprint technology in the pre-check lane at Atlanta's airport since June of 2017, which matches travelers to the fingerprints they provided when first enrolling in TSA pre-check. And later this month, Delta will launch the first biometric terminal in the U.S. in Atlanta. The terminal will use facial recognition technology to speed up the travel process by automating flight check-in, bag drop, ID verification, and boarding a flight. There's no exact timeline as to when these things will happen, but they're certainly planning on moving forward on using more biometrics like fingerprints and facial scanning in the future at our airports.
Weird. I don't know if it makes it faster.
Yeah, but let me tell you, pre-check, whew, what a revelation. Gotta do it.
I know.
Oh, that's right. You just got it, Dan, right?
I did just get it.
Ah.
I mean, I feel like I still probably, I still get to the airport. Here's the thing. If I'm going to lay on my whole airport philosophy. First of all, I'm going to get to the airport pretty early, all right? Not as early as I used to, but especially after Colby's recent, reminder.
Your biggest enemy at the airport is you.
That's right.
That needs to be on a TSA poster somewhere.
Yes. If you're late, it's probably your fault.
Sincerely, the TSA.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But the other thing is, if I'm going to be at the airport during a mealtime, I'm going to eat a meal at the airport and not on the plane. And so then I'm going to give myself time to do that. So if I have a flight at 11, I'm going to eat lunch there. If I have a flight at 2, I'm going to eat lunch there.
Yep.
If I have a flight at between 5 and 7, I'm going to eat lunch there.
Yeah. Also, eating at a sit-down place at the airport is like...
Fantastic.
Yeah. So chill when you have time.
Not delicious. Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it's better than you'd expect.
How's the food at the Boston airport, Colby?
Depends on the terminal.
Yeah. There are some truly abysmal terminals in LaGuardia. There was one. It felt like, those temporary cubicles. Sean, you must know these. You work in office environments.
I work in one. Yeah.
Well, not temporary. Like all cubicles are temporary, but the temporary offices where it's just floor to ceiling cubicle material.
Yeah.
In this yeah. It's the security area is made out of that. The walls are all that, and then you step out of it and you realize that there's just room for chairs and gates outside of that. And there is one of those Hudson whatever.
Hudson News,
pick up your shaving cream that you forgot, Hudson News, and one place that sells coffee.
Oh, God.
And I got there at like 6:30 for this flight, and they were out of coffee because they just had the little buckets of coffee. Anyways, all of this to say that, yeah, if it makes things faster, I think that's great. But the bottleneck in the TSA is not going through the scanners. It's not people opting out of the scanners. It's people who don't know how to put their stuff on the belt. Don't know what to take out of their bag. Don't know what to leave in. Which is why I've always advocated for, and someone recently told me over the summer that this is what TSA PreCheck is, and I'm going to explain the difference in a second. I've always advocated for, you feel to take a test. Like a driver's test. Like, hey, you want to take your TSA test? Like, if you can go through this, maybe we make it 2. If you can go through an audited TSA thing twice, no issues, you get a golden ticket. You go on another line. It's not TSA PreCheck. They're still you have to do all of the things. You're not skipping any steps, but you have validated the fact that you can perform them. It's like a belay certification at a climbing gym. It's just something you have to do to show that you're not a complete idiot. Imagine how much faster that line would be.
That line would be out of control.
The difference is you don't have to pay for it, and you don't skip any steps. So anyone could get it. If you're a competent person who can follow rules, you can get this certification too.
And would you get this just by going through the TSA the normal way?
Yeah.
Like you get a little your coffee shop regulars card. They punch a hole.
Yeah.
And they can revoke it on the spot. Ooh,
yeah,
sir.
You get,
tear it up.
3 strikes rule or something.
Sir, you didn't take your shoes off. You know you have to do that.
Yeah. I think I've just been realizing that in America we need a lot more certifications than we currently have. And those certifications need to be respected. Well, I think we should start with the TSA.
You know what the problem with pre-check is that I have found is that the people in pre-check line who don't know what they're doing aren't actually pre-checked. The problem with pre-check is a normal, regular person can get pre-check. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but they randomly choose people and just give them pre-check, even if they haven't signed up for the program. Because computers deem them...
It happened to me once. I was the person, but I'm like very qualified to go through security.
But like, for some reason, and I have no idea why, I have flown a lot. Before getting pre-check, never got it. My mother, every time she flies, she gets pre-check. They just give it to her every time. The problem is she does not know how to go through airport security lines because she doesn't fly that often. That's the problem. Stop giving we paid to be pre-checked. Don't give pre-check to the nobodies who are beneath us who don't know what they're doing. That's what slows down the line.
I think I told Dan this story, but the last time I was flying, I was in not at the the scanners, but like before that when they check your tickets, and there was a person trying to get on the plane with like an insurance card as their form of ID.
Nice.
And the TSA agent was just like flabbergasted, like there's no picture on this card, and they let the person through, which is crazy, but nothing means anything.
Making us safer every day.
I will also say, and you guys might disagree with me on this, but to expedite things at the airport, people should go to the kiosk and get a damn printed ticket and stop trying to use your phone, which never works, or using the big 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper one you printed at home. They print them in the size you need.
My phone has always worked. It's never been a problem.
Never worked. Every time I tried it, it never worked. I went to paper tickets. Paper works 100% of the time. Print the damn tickets.
I almost always use paper tickets. I only don't use paper tickets when I'm not checking a bag, but if I'm checking a bag and I go to the kiosk anyways, I get a paper ticket.
It takes 2 seconds to go to the self-serve kiosk and print a ticket, and then you have it, and then you don't have to worry about your phone. I just think that's so much faster and easier. And that was my point I was going to make about this article and the biometrics is that I find, and I agree with you, Dan, the thing that slows down TSA is not the part where they verify your identity against your ticket. That usually, for me, goes pretty quick, which is what this biometrics would be for. The problem is the scanners and people not knowing what to do, and that's what slows down the process. So I don't know how much more efficient this would make it. I would argue this is probably more for security than it is for efficiency.
Well, maybe now when I go through immigration, they'll be able to verify my identity despite the fact that I have a common name. But somehow, I bet that they still won't be able to.
Well, you gotta. I already used my finger because I have pre-check with Global Entry, and they do use your fingerprints at the kiosk, and you have to put your fingerprints in, and they verify you through customs that way.
Do you have to do all of them? Like,
no, you do have to do. I think
you have to do that for pre-check too.
When you verify, but for every time you come into the country, you have to put your fingerprints on the machine. And they take your picture and they do a whole extra verification, but it's very fast. And it seems to work fine.
Cool.
So I got stuck not that this is an interesting story, but in Amsterdam they have automated machines for customs when you're leaving, where it takes your picture and it scans your boarding pass and then it verifies you are, and then you can walk out. And I got stuck in one of those. They're all automated, so it's got these little gates that close and then they won't open until it verifies you, but the ones behind you also close. So it's like you're trapped between the barriers until it verifies you. And I don't know if the machines were newer, they weren't working, but I'm like, I scanned it and it was like an error code came up and I literally was like stuck with my luggage in this like little like vestibule waiting, and the guy had to come over. He's like, yeah, I got to call somebody. Hang on. I was in there for like 20 minutes. It was awful.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was. And finally they're like, yeah, we'll just manually do it. And they kind of like jerry rig the door open and then they put like an out of order sign on it. I'm like, this sucks. My luck.
That is terrifying.
Well, guys, we are out of time for news, unless you have a story you really want to talk about. I mean, we talked about most of it.
This was a pretty light week.
It was. We're going to move on to picks here. We've got a few here in the rundown. I'm going to go first because my name's at the top here. Why not? mix it up. I bought a new jacket. So I've lived in New England my entire life, and I still have not solved the fall jacket problem, where I either have too light of a jacket or too heavy of a jacket, and I can never get a fall jacket I like, something that's light, and I'm not a big fleece guy. That's my problem. I don't like fleece, so I'm not going to get like your Columbia North Face kind of just generic fleece. I don't think they keep you very warm. I want something a little heavier. And I was on the Wirecutter browsing around, and they recommended, and so I checked out this. Is it Uniqlo? Is that how you say it? Uniqlo?
I don't know how to say it. I say Uniqlo, but I think
it's Uniqlo. Okay,
Uniqlo.
Well, because of the way it's written, because it's UNI, and then on the next line, QLO. Uniqlo. Uniqlo. That doesn't make any sense. But I tried out their ultralight down. Their ultralight down jacket. It comes in a bunch of colors. I got it in the dark gray, and I wore it to. I went to a baseball game on Sunday night, last night, in Boston, in Fenway. Go
Did
Sox.
they win?
Sox.
They did win. They won, I think, 7-4 against Houston. They're playing in Houston tomorrow night.
Oh, this is like the Sean series.
It honestly, I would have liked both teams to win, so it was really a win-win for me. But it was a treat. But it was also very cool. It was very cool night in Boston. I wore this jacket, and I was very happy and satisfied with it. It comes in a whole variety of colors and sizes. You can check it out. The ultralight down jacket from Uniqlo. It's nice. Seems nice. It's not. I mean, you can get more expensive jackets, but you know, it doesn't weigh anything. I mean, it is ultralight, but that's kind
is it
of
one of the ones that like packs up into a little pill?
Yep.
That's neat.
Yeah, it really doesn't have much to it, but it's just warm. That's why I like it's a fall jacket. It's just you could not wear this in December, but I think it's a good looking fall jacket. So check that out. All right, we'll go down the order here. Dan, what do you have?
So about a month ago, I had a free weekend, and I was bored, and I didn't have a game to play because I had beaten Zelda, and I went on Steam, and I picked up this game I heard a lot about called Divinity Original Sin 2. I don't know what happened to the first one. It has a bunch of good reviews. This game is basically computerized D&D, but how to phrase this? They cut out the stupid parts. It is turn-based, so a lot of these computerized D&D games are going to be like, oh, it's real-time and you pause it. And that's cool, and I've played those. I recommended Dragon Age a while back. This one, the kinds of stuff you can do in combat where it's like, okay, I'm going to take a water balloon, throw it on the ground, cast Thunderbolt so that electrifies the water, which also electrifies the blood, which spreads over to this part of the map. Or like there's this really strong troll on this like tropical island thing that I was at, and the key to beating him was to teleport him into the volcano. And you can do stuff like that. You can teleport things on top of each other. The spells are really creative and do things physically to the environment, and they interact in crazy ways. The combos are really fun to pull off. There's a combo where I transform someone into a chicken, which causes them to run around, and then I cast a spell on them that every foot that they run, they take damage. But when they're a chicken, they run really far. So it's like a one-hit KO. It's kind of fun. So if you've been liking playing D&D, there's something I haven't tried at all, which is multiplayer. And not only is there multiplayer, but there's Game Master mode. You can make your own adventures in the multiplayer to play with your friends. I haven't looked into that at all, but people apparently do it. So check out Divinity Original Sin. It's on the PlayStation and the Xbox. It says coming soon, but I know it's for sure it's out on those now. And there's a new edition out that comes with a bunch of content, which I sadly missed by literally a week. So, but I got it for free. Suddenly my game changed. I started it up and all my saves were gone. I was like, whoa, what happened? I had to switch back to the old version of the game. So don't make my mistake. Well, you can't now. You'll just get the new one.
Cool.
Did you play that on Steam or something else?
I played it on Steam. I'd be if we wanted to try digital D&D, I'd be willing to get it on something else.
Cool.
Neat. I mean, they have just an awful website.
It's pretty.
I like how it
graphical.
doesn't scroll.
And you can't click. There's some things you just can't click on that they want you to click on, but you can't. It's
It just
intriguing.
doesn't work.
I've been on worse websites today.
Fair enough.
Just today.
Fair enough. Yeah, you can check it out now at divinity.game, which is an awesome URL, and we'll have the link on our website. Thank you, Dan, and maybe challenge Dan to a game.
I don't know if you can challenge people like that.
You got to know him.
But I haven't tried multiplayer at all. I'll have to look into it.
Well, request to be Steam friends with Dan. Connect with him there. He'll show you a few things. Colby, what have you got? Take us home.
Mine's a podcast. Yay. One of my coworkers recommended this because I like Mabim Bam. It's a similar sort of like improvisational comedy show. But it's called Hello from the Magic Tavern, and the premise is a podcaster fell through a portal into another dimension, and it's like sort of a fantasy land, and he does a podcast there from some tavern that he hangs out in while he's stuck in this magical world. And it's basically just like the people that he hangs out with in this tavern, and they're all ridiculous and silly, and it's all made up. So I don't know.
Are there multiple humans involved in this?
Yeah, there are usually 3 or 4 people. There are some regulars, and they have like guests. So usually every episode there's like a guest outside of the regular cast that comes in.
Now, is this something you have to listen to in order?
I've been listening to it in order. I've been making use of Sean's previous pick, Rewind Out website.
Yeah.
So I just listened to like one a week. I'm on like episode 8 or something. I don't know. Having not listened to any of the recent ones, I don't know A, how many episodes there are, or B,
There are a lot.
how. Yeah. So
Over 100.
Yeah. I'm never gonna catch up with them. I don't think.
I had this in my feed about maybe 6 months or a year ago to start, and then I was really kind of like Roderick a little bit, where I was really intimidated by the episode count, and I'm like, if I start at the beginning, I'm never gonna get caught up. Ain't gonna happen. Same reason why I don't watch Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or anything that I was like, I'm never gonna finish this.
Come on, Sean. I'm almost at the 2016 election, Roderick, on the line.
Boy, yeah, just skip that, buddy. Just go right past that one. You power
Yeah, I'm
through
only
it.
6 episodes away.
Damn. You'll do it, Dan. I believe in you. Hello from the Magic Tavern. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. Very cool pick. Thank you, Colby. Guys, that wraps us up here, more or less.
Sick.
Unless you've got anything else you'd like to say. Any projects you'd like to promote?
No, stay frosty.
Stay frosty. I'll promote on behalf of you guys today, or yesterday if you're listening to this tomorrow. We published a brand new episode of Game Nights out on the feed, episode number 81. If you, before you listen to Hello from the Magic Tavern, listen to Game Nights, because it's like that, but not as good. No, it's a good episode. It's fun, where our characters finally, we set out to sea. We figure out nautical terms, like which is the bow and which is the stern.
We did not do a lot of research.
No, we did, as usual, none. We try and come up with a gift to give a dragon turtle. We call on an old friend. It's a great episode. It's available now at GameNights.tv or wherever you get podcasts. Just check out, search for Game Nights. And just like Hello from the Magic Tavern, what a great podcast to check out. What's the Rewind.podcast? What did you say? Is that the...
It's Rewind.website, I think.
Rewind.website. Put in Game Nights and start from the beginning and get caught up all the way back at episode 1. And we don't have we only got 80 episodes for you to get through. So
that's true.
You'll zip right through them in no time. You can check that out there. And I guess I'll use this opportunity. We've got a little time left. You guys don't even know about this. I'm going to tease.
Ooh.
We have a special event coming up on Up for Debate. Now we're known for a few of our gimmicks, the movie league and our bracket episodes and this or that. Our Super Bowl prop bets. We kind of do some. We have a brand new thing. We've never done this before. We don't have a title for it yet. It's probably either going to be Up for Debate Presents or Up for Debate: A Closer Look. We're doing a mini, in-depth, multi-episode, because usually we pick a giant topic and do an hour on it. Here we're picking a small topic and doing many hours on it. Kind of like Serial or something like that. It's like a mini-series within Up for Debate.
Oh!
And we're going super in-depth. And guys, I can announce here exclusively the topic for the first Up for Debate: A Closer Look. We will be digging in. Guys, the year, 2001. The place, Las Vegas, Nevada. The game, football. But not football like you know it. No, this is Vince McMahon's football. This is the XFL. Matt and I are going to be running through the creation and demise of the most exciting, hard-hitting football league that should have never existed. Matt and I, proud to present Up for Debate, a closer look inside the XFL.
Wow. I can't wait.
It's gonna be a hoot. And I'm very excited. Matt is very excited. We've been doing a lot of research, and it should be fun. So it doesn't start this week, but next week we should be starting it. So check it out, upfordebate.tv. But we've got to wrap it up here because we're out of time. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Of course, our website is don'tpanic.io. Go there, get all the past episodes and links to all our picks, which is great. In case you don't remember them, the links are right there. You can also subscribe to this show wherever you get podcasts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, now on Spotify, which is very exciting. You can get us there as well. Ooh. Yep, where you get your music, you can get us. So that is just search for Don't Panic. Also on YouTube. And you can follow us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter. Email us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. We will be back next week with more tech news and fun times. But for now, on behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for more on Don't Panic.